rolling? All right, you guys ready?
We are ready.
All right. I'm ready. You ready? I'll wait until you get your tripod all ready. Good to go. Very nice. All right, folks.
All right.
Here we go.
Not a seamless beginning.
In 3,
Not the first show.
2, and 1.
WOTW HD2 Windermere, Bud 94.1. From the attorneys Justin Clark and Associates YouHavePower.com studios, this is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to the program, and thank you for spending some of your weekend here with me on Bud 94.1, my favorite radio station. If you have any phone calls whatsoever, 321-282-1055. Here to answer any legal question that you may have. Anything from accident to zonings, 321-282-1055. During the week, we focus mostly on bankruptcy, IRS problems, real estate, personal injury, and even your student loan problems. But for the purposes of this show, call us for anything. 321-282-1055. You can watch the show live on Facebook at ATTY Justin Clark, and plenty of information as well on the website, youhavepower.com. That is youhavepower.com. Joining me as always, my good friend and Orlando radio legend, Mick Dolan. Mick, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Couldn't be better.
Good to see you, brother.
Another day in paradise here.
And Marketing Jake's pushing the buttons, making sure everything goes smoothly behind the scenes. How's it going, Marketing Jake?
Going good, going good.
And helping us get on the air today, even though I've got maybe some headphone issues, and the pre-show didn't go as smoothly as normal, I would say.
I'm sorry. It's just this is the stuff I'm dealing with, you know? Don't blame the monkey, blame the grinder.
From our sister station, 103.1 The Wolf and the Chad show with Skid. It's Skid. What up?
Doing well,
How are you, brother?
I'm just trying to keep this thing. I'm just trying to plug some stuff in.
Mouse on a wheel.
Yeah.
So the Cleveland Indians uniform that you're
Yes.
wearing today, is this
Yes.
like Supreme Training starting, or what's going on
Actually,
here?
I'm flying out. Game starts. First game is on Friday. I'm going
that
to be out
right?
there at the first game against the Reds.
Where is that?
It's going to be out in Arizona.
Oh, wow. You are a fan.
Yes.
My goodness.
Yeah.
Going to Goodyear,
Anyone
Arizona.
Anyone who flies across the country for spring training game number 1 is a real fan.
He is.
Are they any good?
You know what?
They should be pretty good.
They were in the postseason last year, so hopefully, you know.
321-282-1055. I cannot get into the Olympics. I have a lot of good friends at West, so I apologize in advance. I'm having a real struggle getting to the Olympics this year. I don't know. Are you guys watching it?
What was it? Sean White? Is that the
I don't know.
snowboarder?
I saw like one event.
He
Be
is
honest. Have you been
crazy.
watching it?
I've been watching curling.
Okay.
It's like 3 in the morning. It's awesome.
And there's a reason it's on 3 in the
Well,
morning.
you know what? But yeah, it puts me asleep, and it's great. It's like, wow. This is a tense match.
I feel like it's like sleigh riding or something on TV. I don't know. I can't get
Whoa.
into it this year. I don't know why. I don't know if the ratings
get
are
on board
down.
that bobsled and you'll think otherwise, I think.
We
Right.
do a lot of advertising on West, so I want people to watch, but I just personally haven't been able to get to it. Did you see, Skid, what Mick Dolan got stirred up over the week? My
You know what?
goodness.
No, I kind of added to the pot because I did because it was awesome. It was the best Facebook feed I've ever seen in my life.
I'm going to require Mick to tell us what you posted because I don't know how to say that
Well,
and
neither
not
do
get in
I,
trouble.
actually.
He
Come
posted
on.
this picture,
Yeah.
and it had something to do with the president and I don't know,
And a-
but
and a Russian
I mean,
bear.
how many comments were on that? Everyone was hating you.
Oh.
I have no idea.
I was
lost count. I
I've
had
never
to
seen
shut
anything
it
like
down.
that.
It was
too
amazing.
crazy.
It was absolutely crazy.
Well, hey, what can you say?
Very special show today. 321-282-1055 for any questions that you have. But we have a special show. We're going to divert a little bit from the normal legal topics and talk to my good friend, running for U.S. Congress, the Florida's 7th Congressional District, Scott Sturgill. What's up, brother? How are you, man?
Good. How you
Good
doing
to
today?
see you. Thanks for joining us, by
I love
the way.
all these living legends you have in the studio.
Yeah, right. First, I'm on baby watch, like I told you. Any advice for 2 daughters? I mean, 1 daughter's hard enough, you know. And they always say, "I'll buy the shotgun." I mean, how do I deal with 2? Any advice for me? I mean, I'm scared to death.
A lot of alcohol and a lot of aspirin.
Is that what it is? All right, good
It'll
deal.
be easier in the early going for girls.
I guess
then the trouble starts later.
Is that right? What, age 12 or something?
I had 2 boys,
Yeah.
and they hit me hard.
I know.
right off the bat.
I mean, I'm excited. I can't imagine life without my little girl, of course, but now to add two, I mean, I'm literally doing girly things now. I grew up playing sports, and I find myself doing girly stuff now. I mean, there's no watching the Indians game in my house anymore. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're watching Beauty and the Beast now.
There you go. Oh, yeah, please. 1,000 times. But, all right. CEO of Durable Safety Products, right? How in the world do you decide I'm going to run for office? I mean, how do you make that transition?
Look, we've had a lot of success in the private sector, and so when John Mica lost, obviously no one thought he would ever lose, and the tides changed. Stephanie Murphy won, and so I had a number of people who approached me, and from the community and from around the nation, who said, "Hey, Scott, you've been very successful in business. Would you consider running?" And I said, "Look, if you want that yes vote in D.C., I'm probably not your person. If you want someone who's willing to take on the challenges and not worry about the next election, then I'm your guy." And so after talking to my wife and daughters and my business partners and making sure they were all okay with it, we decided to launch an exploratory campaign last April. And we ran it for a few months, tested the waters, see where our support was, and it was very good. And then July 19th, we officially launched from the Sanford Chamber of Commerce, where I had served as the board chair for the previous 2 years, because this is about small businesses. It's about cutting regulations, that affect all businesses. And VA is a big topic for us, and also the military funding is a huge topic for us.
People always say this I-4 corridor thing is sort of the real split between Republican and Democrat. We saw what happened in the election back in 2000 or whatever, but a real microcosm of that, I think, might be this seat. I mean, if you look at the results historically for the 7th Congressional District, it was Micah, 60%, 60%, 65%. I mean, he was crushing it, right? And then all of a sudden, it seems like someone took an eraser and changed this district. What happened?
Well, what happened is redistricting occurred. So Micah lost the southwest portion of Volusia County and picked up part of Orange County. And so it's all of Seminole County and the northern half of Orange County. And so that happened in 2016. And so, Micah just, wasn't able to overcome the difference in amount of voters. So the district swings 2 points to the Democrats in a presidential cycle, and then swings back a little bit more favorable towards the Republicans in a off-presidential cycle. And the fact was, Stephanie Murphy was heavily financed by outside groups, Nancy Pelosi, George Soros, and a few other that are big Democratic groups who financed her with well over $6 million.
You have a big event coming up. Tell me about that.
We do. So we've been fortunate enough that Speaker John Boehner, who's a friend, has decided to come in and do a fundraiser for us. He's trying to help us clear the primary and get the needed cash on hand. That's a top 5 race nationally, because of the I-4 corridor. And so he said, Scott, he goes, I think we can win this race. Let's come in here and let's see if we can help you raise some additional money, because it's going to be a very expensive race. And so he's coming in March 1 to do a fundraiser for us, and it's getting us a lot of national attention at this point.
This isn't one of those races that only people here in Orlando are going to be watching. I mean, we're going to have some eyeballs on the screens come election night nationally, are we not?
We are. So we're getting a lot of attention from California, Washington State, Midwest, Northeast, Texas. So we're getting donors who are fortunately are contributing to our campaign and giving us support from all over. So it's great because, again, what happens here in Florida, will help decide the 2020 presidential.
So this district now, tell us what you cover. Tell us who you will serve once you get elected into Washington, D.C.
So it'll be everyone in Seminole County and then the north half of Orange County. So basically take I-4 and UCF as the east-west boundaries, and then it cuts off at Lake Underhill Road.
Got it. So obviously, the redistricting or whatever, how did that happen? I mean, was someone really going in and trying to change it to help one side, or was this just a natural, organic thing that happens?
Well, the districts are actually drawn by the Florida legislature, and so they're done every 10 years. And, you can say gerrymandering districts. Corrine Brown certainly was a
professional.
She had a great district.
She was.
And then, so when they drew her district as well, that's kind of one of the reasons that she got knocked out of office. The other one might have been the indictments, but she lost in her primary.
Well, I certainly hope that we can help get you to Washington, D.C. We definitely need a change here. I don't want to say anything bad about who took over this district, but it's certainly not helping, and we need some change, and people need to get out there and help support you. How can people help elect Scott Sturgill for Congress?
Sure, they can go to our website and go to scottsturgillforcongress.com or find us on Facebook at Scott Sturgill for Congress. We need volunteers. Volunteers certainly help us get our message out.
Absolutely.
We need businesses that will allow us to put up signs. Obviously financial contributions help. That's a big part of what we do, helping us spread the word on social media. But also we need people's prayers. This is going to be a long, drawn-out race, and it's going to be a tough race, but we're in it to win it, and we've got the momentum behind us.
You talk about the VA. What can we do? I mean, if there's any group of people in this country that we need to help take care of, I would think it's our veterans, right? And you heard a couple of years ago about long lines and about a lot of issues within the VA. I mean, what is your thought process on how you can help our veterans?
With the VA, VA is a personal issue for me. So my grandfather's a 94-year-old World War II veteran. So I've gone through it as his primary medical power of attorney with him. And just the bureaucratic hoops that they had to jump through just to get their basic services. They've earned it. They've fought for our country. They've defended our rights and our freedoms, so that we can be here on the radio. But again, it's the bureaucratic red tape they had jumped through. It's going to take someone who's going to have the ingenuity to privatize the system. Right now it's hard for the veterans to go outside of the VA system. They should be able to basically take a Medicare card for all intents and purposes and go to the doctor of their choice. As a country, we can monitor the results better. It'll be cheaper, for medical costs because we can drive down the cost with the providers.
How would that affect the current VA hospitals? Would they, a loss of patients maybe, and so that would be a problem?
I don't know so much they're going to have a loss of patients. There's 167 full-service VA hospitals across the country, and that's not counting the clinics or all these other ambulatory areas. Right. The VA has about 360,000 employees, of which 2/3 of them are non-clinical. So you wonder why we have the long lines? Well, when you have that few clinical people with the VA, it's a bureaucratic mess. And so there's just not enough physicians and clinical people to take care of our veterans. Because remember, we have World War II veterans, Vietnam,
right, bunch of them,
Iraq and Afghanistan, which has added a lot onto the load. Before Iraq and Afghanistan, sure, I think we had adequate support to take care of them. But at this point, it's just grown to a bureaucratic mess.
So it would take the heat off the hospital, the VAs, if you went elsewhere. Some of them went elsewhere.
Yeah.
So that way they could take care of the people.
Yeah. And again, it would make it easier for a good portion of the veterans to be able to go, again, to a hospital that's closer to their home. And they're not having to travel 40, 50, 60 miles just to get to an appointment.
I saw the new VA hospital down Lake Nona.
It's beautiful.
It is. I went in on the weekend, though, visiting a patient, a friend of mine who had some surgery. And there's nobody there on the weekends.
What do you mean?
You walk in the hospital, and where is everybody? I'm serious.
Really?
Yes.
I'm surprised.
It is. And it's okay, it's the weekend, the clinics are closed. Then you go over to the hospital side, and there's not many over there. Now, there's plenty of nurses and stuff on the different levels. But down to greet you, you go into Florida Hospital, and you feel like you're in a car dealer. I mean, they're on you like, whatever.
They're trying to sell you some
kind of
surgery.
Strange. I found it kind of strange after going to those Florida Hospital and ORMC, and then go to this VA hospital and there's nobody there.
My name is Justin Clark. Thank you for listening to Behind the Law. 321-282-1055. Plenty more after the break with Scott Sturgill, your candidate for U.S. Congress.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Is it still coming in one ear?
Sometimes.
Really?
I'm okay.
Well, let's just be like, okay.
That's why I wasn't jumping in on that one.
Oh, okay. Play with my board too.
Yeah.
No, but
we'll be all right.
You sure?
It just
I
struck
switch
me
your
as
headphones too.
I'm good. Thanks,
it's a
man.
hospital. Where should be people all over the place.
It came at a high price tag, $2 billion.
Oh, I know. I did. I know.
You guys ready?
Whenever you are, sir.
Sounds good. Here we go.
Welcome back to Behind the Law with me, attorney Justin Clark. Thank you for spending some of your weekend here with us. 321-282-1055. The website, youhavepower.com. But we're talking about something more important today, and that is us electing Scott Sturgill for United States Congress, the Florida 7th Congressional District. You know this district. This is the one where John Michael was there every single year over and over, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Stephanie Murphy, the Democrat, came in and won. Simply knocked him off. I don't think anyone saw that coming. We're trying to get a Republican back in that seat, and this is the guy. This is the guy that we're going to send to Washington, D.C. Let me ask you a question, Scott. I grew up Republican, and Mick knows this about me. I grew up Republican, listening to Rush Limbaugh, that sort of thing, but then at some point, I got turned off a little bit by this sort of far religious right, and we were saying, two gay people shouldn't be able to get married, and all these social issues that I feel like I don't even know if that's really my business. Why? I mean, how can we as a Republican Party keep people like me, maybe students at UCF even who's in your district now, who don't really understand this far right conservatism, but fiscally, they're certainly conservative. I mean, how can we all stay together as one?
Well, I think, again, the Republican Party for years has gone after we call them the red meat issues. Gay marriage, abortion. A lot of those issues have already been decided in the courts. So why keep bringing them up? Well, they keep bringing them up for a fundraising purpose. I would say most voters are probably more libertarian. Stay out of their personal life, keep their taxes low. That's pretty much what we all want. Keep government out of our lives for the most part. And so I think that's what resonates to the younger generation, and even the people our age, Justin. Now mixed age, they still care about those red meat issues.
Yeah, right. I hear it. So I'm not wrong for feeling that way. I'm not wrong for being a compassionate Republican, right? I'm not wrong for being a compassionate Republican, right? I mean, that's okay.
No. Yes.
You guys aren't going to throw me out of the party, are you?
No.
Does it make sense what I feel? I mean, do I make sense here, or do I have to feel all one way? I'm serious. I need some love here. Skid, what do you think?
No, I agree.
I mean, do you understand?
No, I totally agree. I mean, I'm the same. I grew up in a very conservative Republican family. My mother was in charge of the women's Republican club in Ohio, in Delaware County. We worked on the John Kasich campaign to get him into Congress.
Wow.
She knows. He's been to our house actually numerous times, and I agree with you. I think when you go far right, I'm right in the middle now. I mean, it's kind of scary how the party's gone. Both parties actually.
Yeah.
By no means do I feel like just because I've worked hard and can get a first class ticket on the airplane, everyone should. You know what I mean? Absolutely not. But I also think that we should maybe stay out of people's personal lives as well. That's just how I feel.
A fiscal conservative, more liberal as far as social.
Exactly.
Maybe, huh?
Thank you guys for not judging me. I really appreciate it. Favorite places.
I'll judge you on other reasons.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you do. I can see you. I can see your eyes judging me all the time. Favorite places to hang out in Lake Mary.
Ooh, for me or Mick?
You.
Oh,
Scott. Sorry.
I'm a big fan of Corona cigar bar.
Yeah.
So I'm a big cigar guy.
Down the street.
Yeah, of course, my wife gives me
When you
heck
come
about
home.
it every time. Yeah, she's like, go take a shower. You
The
stink. You
closet
smell like
smells.
exactly.
Yeah.
Really Amura's. So I'm a big fan of sushi. My kids love it. So again, it's kind of like a family night, tradition that we do every week.
Absolutely. All right. So we've talked to a lot of politicians on this show. Not that you're a politician, but when you're running for office, there's a lot of nighttime responsibilities that come with that. You have a job during the day. You run a big company, a big successful company, but now you're running for office, all right? And so every night it seems like you have to do this, a ribbon cutting here, baby's birth here, go shake hands here. How do you find the energy to run a business and run for office? Not just any office. I mean, we're trying to get to Washington, D.C. here.
It takes a lot of coffee. I will tell you, it takes about 3 or 4 of these big cups a day. My day starts about 5 a.m. Generally, if we're doing an event at night, it's probably 10:30 before I'm kind of getting in. I'm blessed. My wife is very good. She works full time. She's a surgical rep, but she's very good about managing the kids, making sure they're all taken care of, and making sure the house is everything is set with the house. So she's on board, but we try to limit to make sure I'm home at least 2 nights a week right now. Now, as we get closer and closer to election day, it's going to be 24/7 at that point.
Is that 2 out of 5 or 2 out of 7 nights a week?
2 out of 7 nights a week.
2 out of 7? It's tough, right?
It is tough.
That's really, really tough to do. How do you? All right, let's say that you're going out to a fundraiser event, right? And there's big open bar here, open bar there, but the event's sort of about you. Do you say I'm not having anything to drink at all, or cut it off at 1? How do you do that as a politician?
For me, generally, I don't drink at events. Look, it's just we're there to do business. This is a business. It's a job to get it done. So I just choose not to. Again, I don't want that photo of me having a drink in my hand and someone snaps a photo, because let's face it, politics is a dirty business, and they will use it eventually.
Yeah.
And so I just tend to stick with water or coffee or something like that.
Have you noticed the dirty side of politics at all yet, even early on in this campaign?
Oh yeah, we've already taken the hits on social media. I've got RJ in here with me. He has to
What's
keep
up,
me
RJ?
responsible here and keep me out of trouble. But the social media hits are pretty good. That they've gotten on us. But again,
Gotta be
we throw them
careful.
right back too.
Got to be real careful on social
Who
media.
do you trust? Like in your life, you have to make big decisions. You got to make big decisions on what event you're going to go to or who you're going to target. Who do you really lean on when you're running for an office like this? Do you lean on your campaign managers or someone else? Who do you really run things by?
Yeah, we've got our campaign team. We've got obviously RJ, and then we've got our campaign consultants. We've got about 9 people on the campaign now as it is, and it'll keep growing before the general. But then, a lot of it's gut feel. If there's an event coming up and I'm not really sure about it, I might just go ahead and say, I'm not going to do that one. Especially if it's a group that we know is maybe just far left of us or has something in the past that we just don't want associated with us. So.
What about door knocking? I mean, do we really go around in the neighborhoods and knock on doors and say hi and shake
yes,
hands
we
and give
do.
hugs?
That is the key.
Yes,
right
we do.
there.
It's a great way to burn off those holiday extra pounds,
There you
Justin.
go.
So
I'm still working on
So
that.
if you want to come out, we'll send
That
you
would
the
be-
door knocking.
I
We've been
think
door knocking.
Justin should come out and,
Yeah?
and pound
I'd be
the
happy
pavements.
to.
Sure.
Yeah,
Can
we've been.
let's do it in the spring. Let's do it before summer. No, I'm just kidding. We'll do it anytime. But do you find that's an effective tool? I just don't know when the election gets so big that you can't knock on doors, or maybe there's not an election that you can't do that. I don't know.
No, you have to knock on doors because that's the way we find out what the issues are with the voters. Because every voter, their issue is different. You could go to two voter neighbors, and they got totally different issues. So that's the way we again find out what their issues are, and again, are they supporting us? Or if they're not, how can we convince them to support us? So it's some of the best way we get to communicate. Now the volunteers and the team can go out to a lot more doors than I can because once people realize that I'm the candidate. Oh man, it's like 5-10 minutes at a door now, whereas the guys can sometimes be like 1 minute at the door and they're gone.
Sure.
But it's again, we're there.
But when you got the real guy right there in front of you, there's no substitute for that.
often they invite you inside, but I've kind of learned, hey, I can get away from the door quicker if I stay outside the door.
That's right.
Good call.
It's safer.
His name is Scott Sturgill. Your next congressman from the 7th district in Florida. We're going to take him down. We're going to say we have a primary coming. He needs your help, right? He needs a little bit of your support. Anything
When
that
is
you
the
can
primary?
do. We got to get through the primary before we even take on Stephanie Murphy.
When is that?
So the primary is August 28th,
Okay.
and the general will be November 6th.
So you get by the primary and then you go on, and Stephanie Murphy is the candidate.
Well,
right?
Stephanie has her own primary right now. So
Oh,
She's
I didn't
gotta
know
go
that.
through it.
She
I didn't
does.
know that
She
either.
does.
So they don't automatically like, hey, this is the guy.
now the Democratic Party is trying to push out her primary opponent so that she is automatic, but no, again,
got somebody
She's got to go through the
yeah.
same process.
Good.
All right, so when we get you to D.C., who pays for the apartment up there? Do
That
you have
comes-
to pay for it out of your campaign, or who pays for it?
That comes out of our own pocket.
Really?
That's why you see a lot of the congressmen and women actually have almost like a Murphy bed in their office, and they sleep in their offices.
I did
Because-
not know that.
Yeah, Paul Ryan's famous for it. He's slept in his office for 20 years.
And the flight back and forth?
Fly back and forth. Obviously it comes out of your congressional budget.
Okay, so at least you don't have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So have you had visions now? I mean, have you had any dreams where you're actually sitting in that room, on Capitol Hill, as our congressman?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and then sometimes you wake up with night sweats, but, but yeah, no, sure. We're looking forward to it. So yeah, January next year we'll be sworn in.
What sort of time frame? So let's say you're a congressman from Florida, right? And you have to spend some time in D.C., obviously, some time here. How do you split your time? Is it like half and half, 20% up there? Do you know what is normal?
So typically it's a 3-day work week up there. Sometimes it's a 4. Obviously, if they get into long budget negotiations or floor time, it can go longer. But so typically it's 3 to 4 days up in D.C. and then you're back in the district.
And this is almost every week?
It's about 40 weeks out of the year.
Eesh.
Now you always usually get the August recess and then get some time at the holidays.
I feel like in the winter they should move D.C. to Miami. You know what I mean? As a Floridian, it just...
And then move it back when summer comes.
Yeah, summertime. Actually, summer, let's move it to Boston or maybe the Cape. That
I
would
don't
be better.
think Justin will ever be elected myself.
I spent too much time in Boston, man. I've spent too much time in Boston in April when it's still snowing. I was just totally over it.
It's still snowing now up there, isn't it?
So I don't understand why they make you guys pay for your own living up there. It doesn't make sense to me. Why is that? I mean, how?
Because you would have some people abusing the system.
You think so?
I mean, DC rents are very expensive.
Right.
You're going to be a couple grand a month just for a small 1-bedroom apartment. And again, taxpayers shouldn't have to pay for that. Again, that's on you.
Maybe
we chose this job, so we pick up the expenses.
Maybe they could give it like a general amount,
And that's been proposed, but so far it's not gone. The fiscal conservatives have said no, we're not doing that.
So we had trouble passing a budget this year, right? I mean, these guys are up there working hard. It seems that we can't even pass a budget. We can't even get along long enough to pass a budget. I mean, what can you do to get up there and help us at least pass a budget, not shut down the government?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, what they've done is just a continuing resolution. It's not actually a full
Right.
budget. It's
No,
what they've
it's
done.
not.
It's just, they've given a temporary amount of money just to pass it, get it on to the next,
Kick it
next
down the
quarter.
road.
Yeah, exactly. Kick it down the road, and of course, it added a lot of debt, to our nation as well. So that's where the fiscal conservative has issues with what some of the leadership in the Republican Party has done at this point. Because again, hold the line, guys. You got the House, you have the Senate, you have the presidency. Hold the line and push through the reforms that we all voted you in for.
Makes perfect sense. Sounds reasonable, but I don't know what's going on. How do people find out more information about you and figure out how to help put you in Washington, D.C.?
So they can go to our website, scottsturgillforcongress.com, or follow us on Facebook at Scott Sturgill for Congress.
A full half hour ahead of Behind the Law. If you have any questions, 321-282-1055. The website is youhavepower.com. That's youhavepower.com. We'll be right back with you for another half hour on Bud 94.1.
Issue.
We can talk about term limits.
Term limits?
Yeah, kind of draining the swamp a little bit.
All
My
right.
assistant program director at WMCQ in DC was paying $2,200 a month
For a one-bedroom?
for no inefficiency.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And that was probably 10 to 15 minutes outside of town.
Exactly. I had a 3-bedroom house. I was paying $2,400, but I was between Baltimore and DC. I had to take the Beltway in.
Yeah. Which you talk about some traffic. You think our traffic?
Oh God! Oh yeah, I-4 is nothing. Oh, jeez.
It's nothing a toll road or two would clear.
Exactly.
Right?
You ready?
Yep. Welcome back to the show. My name is Justin Clark. This is Bud 94.1. The name of the show, Behind the Law, with me. I have Orlando radio legend, as always, Mick Dolan here joining me. What's up, Mick?
Here.
You're learning a lot about politics today, huh?
I am. It's always good.
Did you ever have any memorable promotion interns?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Yeah. Have you ever had
But
any
I don't
run
remember
for
him.
Have you ever had any run?
Oh, thanks, Mike.
Have you ever had any run for Congress?
No, actually, you're the first, Scott. Yeah.
So we found out before the show that Scott Sturgill's here with me. He's running for the House of Representatives, Washington, D.C., Florida's 7th Congressional District. It's the one that Stephanie Murphy beat John Micah during the last election. But anyway, we found out before the show that Scott was a promotions intern for my good friend and Orlando radio legend Mick Dolan back a few years ago, I would say.
It's a few years ago.
What state? Where was this?
It was JRR,
Okay,
WJRR,
gotcha.
the rock station. Yeah.
And it's been it's been on up ever since for
What
Scott.
a
I
long,
guess.
strange trip
All
it's
the
been.
all the bad stuff I ever learned, I learned from
Yeah,
Mick.
there you
Is
go.
that right?
I mean, I taught him how to, party. The hell?
Yes, he did.
So, all right. So we're gonna get you up there. How do people find out more information about you, Scott?
Sure, they can follow us on Facebook at Scott Sturgill for Congress, or go to scottsturgillforcongress.com, or follow us on Twitter at Scott_Sturgill.
You have a big event coming up. Tell me about the event.
We do. We have Speaker John Boehner coming in March 1, so he's coming in to do a fundraiser for us. And it's very rare for a former speaker to actually weigh in to a challenger primary. And so, he understands how important this seat is to the country. And so he's coming in to help us try to raise some much needed funds and help us clear the primary so that we can win the seat back.
What do you mean by challenger primary?
There's a Democrat incumbent in the race right now, and or in the office right now, and so we're looking to replace her come next this November. So again, it's a challenger at that point.
Do they do debates in elections like yours?
They do. Now, both sides have to agree to it. And last cycle, Miss Murphy wasn't really willing to debate John Micah. I think they did one time, and she canceled the rest of them.
Any theory on why that is?
Yeah, and John Michael is very skilled about being able to publicly speak and kind of move and think on his feet. And whereas Stephanie Murphy is kind of a little bit more structured and sticks to her talking points, whereas John Michael will, you never knew where he was going to go sometimes.
You hear you hear the term career politician all the time. I would say if there's an antithesis of career politician, that's Scott Sturgill.
Yes, I do not like career politicians. I appreciate anyone who's willing to serve, whether it's Democrat or Republican. Because you put your life on the line and you go out there and everything is fair game at that point. For me, it's 12 years. That's 6 terms in the House of Representatives, and then we're going to let the next generation take over. At that point, I'll be 50. We'll come back home, finish raising the kids and go back to running the company. And again, next generation come over. This is not a career for me. It's an opportunity to serve.
Speaking of career, I mean, you developed a really good business. I mean, you're a businessman. You know what a profit and loss statement is at this point, I guess. And I'm afraid that maybe there are some people in Washington, D.C. who literally don't know what QuickBooks is, let alone how to balance a budget for an entire country. And I think you growing your business like you have into such a success, really a nationwide type business where you're distributing things across the country, doesn't that prepare you to go up there and actually be reasonable and be a businessman in Washington, D.C. as well?
I think it does, but it also gives us a different perspective. Like in our race on both sides, I'm actually the only person who's actually signed the front of paychecks.
Oh.
We signed quite a few of them. I don't really like doing it, but we signed quite a few of them. But I'm the only one who's actually ever dealt with insurance or regulations that affect the company and affect our bottom line. Whereas my opponents on both sides, none of them have ever done that. So what they talk about is theory. What I talk about is reality and what we experience on a daily basis. And so, again, I think when you've had success in the private sector, you can go to D.C. and you're not worried about your next election because, again, this is an opportunity for me to serve. It's not, it's not a career for me. I'm not worried about the next mortgage payment. This is an opportunity to serve and, again, take on the hard issues. And, again, if the voters decide that, they don't think we're doing a good job, they can replace us.
So I think we all know that if you're president of the United States, you can only do 8 years, right? You can only be elected twice. We understand that, but I don't think anyone really understands term limits otherwise and other ideas that people have proposed for term limits. I mean, what do you have in mind?
So for me, it's 6 2-year terms. So the House of Representatives runs every 2 years. We're going to do 6 terms, so 12 years total, and then again we'll let the next generation take over. Now, why it's never happened is because the politicians in D.C., they don't want to cut their careers off. That's going to cut them off. That's going to make them actually have to go, look for a job, which most of them might have trouble finding jobs in the private sector.
Do you remember the first time someone came to you and said, you're really good with people. You're a good speaker. I think you should run for office?
Yeah, I think I hung up a phone on find someone else.
I mean, do you remember when that happened in life when someone said that?
Yeah, for this race, it actually happened in November of, as soon as John Michael lost that night, I actually got
really that night.
Oh, yeah. Not bad.
Unbelievable. And so how does the conversation, you have a good life. You've built a great business. You have 2 beautiful daughters, a beautiful wife. How do you come home and say, honey, I think I might want to do this? How does that conversation go?
I can say my wife rolled her eyes a few times at me and said, "Are you nuts?" Yeah. And there's a lot of my friends who came to me and said, "Are you nuts? You got a great company, you got a great life. Why do you want to disrupt it at this point?" And I said, "Well, because again, it's an opportunity to serve.
Yeah.
Again, we've been successful in the private sector. Now we can do something and we can take some leaps and bounds and do some significant stuff in DC." And so so when I talked to my wife and the kids and my business partners, made sure they were all okay with it. I've told my kids and my wife from the start, look, at any time, if you guys are not comfortable with this, I don't care if it's leading up to the general. If you're not comfortable, I will pull out the race. Again, we only get one chance to raise our kids and have a great family. And so for me, it's about their happiness. This is not an ego thing for me. It's not ambitions. It's an opportunity to serve.
I think we have the greatest country on earth, outside of maybe the food in Italy. It's pretty damn good country we have here, right? But when you're top dog, right? When you're Michael Jordan of the world, essentially, other countries or other basketball teams are going to come after us. We understand that. What did President Trump call the North Korea guy? What was that?
Little Kim.
Little Rocket Man.
Yeah,
Little Rocket
Man,
Man, yeah.
Little
So
Rocket.
I mean, we even have guys like Little Rocket Man who are taking dead aim at us, and to me, it's important that we have a strong military. And I think that there are times where we've gotten away from that as a country. And what are your feelings on our military?
Look, our military has been run down because we've been running 2 wars for the last couple decades now. So they're run down. They need the extra funds. They need the morale boost. If you look at what an enlisted an E1 in the military makes, $17,000 a year.
Wow.
I mean, that's below poverty, which is, to me, is a disgrace that we pay them that little for them putting their lives on the line. So we need to make sure that they're well taken care of and paid a fair wage for putting their lives on the line, and make sure they have the proper equipment. I mean, if you look at the Marines, half the aircraft do not even fly. So they're having to scavenge parts from broken down aircraft just to keep the ones flying. Again, we need to put some serious money in and stop wasting the money on these frivolous programs across the country.
What do you think about? We need some sort of regulation, of course, right? But then it seems like we have some people that come into office and the regulations are insane. I mean, what are your beliefs on regulations and spending?
So I actually like President Trump's policy on regulations. He said for every new regulation, he wants 22 eliminated. And that's
That's a lot.
That's pretty good.
And I think so far they've eliminated a couple thousand already in his first year. So that's pretty impressive because Washington is very good about putting new regulations and policies and letting the different agencies put policies that are in place where the voters have no say on it. And so I think we need to actually have representatives who are going to fight for that and again work with the president. The president knows how to get stuff done. We may not like his delivery sometimes, but he's proven that he can get stuff done.
Scott Sturgill for United States Congress. Support him any way you can. We got to get him in office. We got to get through the primary first, and then we're going to defeat Stephanie Murphy in November. This is a big race. This is a nationwide race that everyone's going to have their eyes on because it was a district that's been Republican for many years, and then I guess surprisingly after some redistricting, a Democrat got into office, and we're going to take that back. And everyone's going to be watching nationwide. I imagine there's probably going to be a lot of money spent here on advertising for this race. Are you up for the challenge? You ready to go?
We are. We've got a great team. We've put a great team in place. I call them my guerrilla warfare team.
Yeah.
So we purposely did not pull a DC team because, again, I wanted people who understood the district, who were connected to the district, and understood what the voters felt in the district. So we put our guerrilla warfare team in place, and so we're ready to take on the challenges. Again, that's a top 5 national race for both the Democrats and the Republicans, and so it's going to be an all-out war.
You mentioned DC for your staff rather than the guerrilla.
Yeah, I did not want a DC staff.
Okay, what is that? I mean,
DC staff.
So there's a ready-made staff for you.
They
out there?
cost a lot more money, but but they're part of the problem. They're career bureaucrats who, again,
you don't want those people.
No.
You want people that care about
you
your
want
district.
people who understand this district. Because this is not a one-size-fits-all race. This is a
Right.
race that, again, if you don't know the issues of District 7, then
What good is it?
yeah, the
How
issues
can
of
you
District
serve
7
if-
are different than a Texas district
Sure.
or a Northeast district.
Absolutely.
So we need to make sure that people understand this district and
Go
again,
local.
are here to fight.
So a lot of people love what President Trump is doing, and then there are a lot of people that are turned off by him. How do you think, not just even you, but nationally, how are candidates, especially Republican candidates, going to use him, or are they going to stay away from him? How are they going to deal with that?
I think it depends on where their district is. So if you're in the Northeast, you may be staying away from him a little bit. Again, this is a purple district, so it's 1/3 Republican, 1/3 Democrat, 1/3 Independent. For me, yeah, I'm a supporter of President Trump. Again, I may not agree sometimes with his delivery on the message, but again, I think his policies are good. He's there for the right reasons. Reality is, he doesn't need the money, doesn't need the job. He's doing it purely as a service to the country. And certainly he has taken a beating in the press half the time. Some of it is deserved. I think he likes to throw it out there and purposely, let them take shots at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're a supporter of the president, and we'll support because again, he's got our country's best interests in mind.
Plenty more ahead. I'm going to ask you on the other side of this break how social media, and RJ is probably going to have to give us some hints, how social media is really changing how politics is done or how a candidacy is really done. Right on the other side of this break, more ahead. Bud 94.1.
don't stay high in digital, but we do a lot of digital marketing along with mail and knocking doors and stuff like that.
How much do you want to go into on that one? Because
We don't have to at
I
all.
don't think that much. If you just mentioned, digital marketing is on the rise, and we've had some small dollar donations come in because of it, and it's been great. And then from there, if you could lead into fundraising,
Yep.
and kind of where that's at, because Scott's leading in that.
Yep.
So it'd be kind of a good way to wrap it up, I think.
What do you use on social media? What's your main platform?
I mean, we use everything: Facebook, Twitter.
Is there a favorite? Is there
Well,
one that's
I
all-
personally enjoy Facebook just because it's
RJ could raise money on Tinder if he'd do it.
We're ready when I'm
That's that's
I'll
another
be dead.
discussion.
My wife's still in this shit.
Here we go.
Welcome back to the program. One more segment with me, attorney Justin Clark, on Behind the Law on my favorite radio station, Bud 94.1. We're talking to Scott Sturgill. He's running for United States Congress in Florida's 7th Congressional District, which is Seminole County, Northern Orange County, including all of UCF as well. But I'm just going to be honest. We need to get Scott into office, all right? We've got to beat the incumbent who's there now. And to get someone into office, especially in such a hard-fought battleground district like he's running for, it takes your help, and it takes your support. And he doesn't like to ask you for money, but I'd like for you to go to his website if you can. Even if it's $1, $5, every little bit is going to help. There's going to be a lot of money flooding into this market. You're going to see a lot of TV commercials, and these things are not cheap. Trust me, I know. I pay a lot of bills myself. What's the website, Scott?
It's scottsturgillforcongress.com, or they can go follow us on Facebook at Scott Sturgill for Congress.
So, all right, I know you don't want to ask for money, but we need money to run this campaign, do we not?
It's a very expensive campaign.
And how do people support you? How can people give you money?
So they can write us a check and send it to the P.O. Box, which they can find on the website, or they can go online to the website, scottsturgillforcongress.com, and make a donation right there.
What if I can contribute $10, but I don't have a lot of money, but I'd like to be out there marching and carrying the Scott Sturgill banner. How can I help with that?
Sure, they can help us on social media by liking our post, sharing our post, inviting their friends to like our page. They can come knock doors with us, work with our volunteers. So we've been fortunate. We have a lot of volunteers out there who are helping us. And so it's very humbling when you see all these people who are coming out to support us.
I think there are some people who quietly support you. It's almost like, Mick, you've done a million shows out there and only 4 people call in.
Right.
You have 10,000 people listening. I think politics is like that as well. I think there are probably people listening right now who want to send you to Washington, D.C., but they feel weird about contacting you guys. They feel weird about getting out there and actually supporting you, but they kind of want to. It's not weird, right? I mean, it's very easy to contact you guys, and you're going to welcome them in and really appreciate the help.
Absolutely, we take everyone's help we can get. We get we get some senior citizens who come out and help. We get the young college students, but then we get the mom and dad who come out after work and help us. So again, it all helps. It all adds up.
What sort of, as someone who spends a lot of money advertising for my law firm, I've seen this transition from just straight TV or just doing radio to do pay-per-click, and then it's really transitioned to a point where I don't even do pay-per-click anymore. I spend a lot of money on social media. I mean, how have you found social media as an avenue to really help support your campaign?
Social media is probably the best avenue we get our bang for the buck, because TV is very expensive, and with politics, we can't not negotiate the rates down like you can.
Right, I know.
We get that flat rate, and it's usually pretty high, so they make all their money. The TV stations.
And you guys kick me off the air.
Well,
Trust me, I know.
But so we do a lot of digital marketing because that's our best way. People get 90% of their information from their phone or their smart device, other handhelds. That's where they get 90% of their information. So we tend to focus a lot more attention there because, again, we can get that instant response and feedback as well.
How do you, let's say someone does want to come out and support you. And what's the easiest way for them to reach out? Is it via a Facebook or they send you an email? I know there's someone listening right now who wants to get involved, but they feel uncomfortable doing it. What's the easiest way to contact you guys so they can say, I want to help?
Yeah, they can actually send us an email. They can send it right to me. It's scott.sturgill@scottsturgillforcongress.com. That actually comes right to me. Or they can go on the Facebook page at Scott Sturgill for Congress, send us a message there, and we'll respond almost instantly.
I want to hear a little bit more about this event that's coming up. Tell me again about the event with John Boehner.
So March 1st, former Speaker John Boehner is coming in to support our candidacy and kind of help us raise some much needed funds. We are actually leading all of our primary opponents in fundraising right now by over $100,000.
Wow.
And again, a lot of that's been from small dollar donations, and obviously we've had some big donors who have helped us out, but a lot of folks who have kind of supported our candidacy and again helping us get to DC.
How do these events really go? But a lot of us regular people haven't been to these ritzy events at like Della Russo's house, right on Markham Woods Road or in Aliquot Lakes or whatever. When you have a big event where you have a big speaker like John Boehner coming in, what goes on? So you walk in. What happens after that?
So again, a lot of it is just we'll talk 4 to 5 minutes about the campaign, what's going on. Speaker Boehner will say a few words, and then a lot of it's just one-on-one conversations as we make our way around the room. So obviously, there's food and there's beverages. Justin, so
coffee
you can
for you.
Yeah, coffee for me. Alcohol for you, Justin. Since you're on baby watch now.
That's right.
But again, it's just it's usually a good time, and again, it's people there who are supporting the campaign and who can help us get the word out.
Do you find that when you go to events like that maybe per head are a little bit more expensive than obviously when you're just knocking on someone's door in a regular neighborhood, do you find the issues are similar? The issues are similar in the huge house over here and the small house here, or are the issues completely different?
Majority of the time, they're actually probably the same issues. Again, it's taxes, it's health insurance premiums, it's education issues, it's military issues. So a lot of times it's the same issues, maybe at a different scale, but for all intents and purposes, it's a lot of the same issues.
I'm glad you brought that up. Health insurance. You know how much I'm paying right now, Mick? $1,600 a month. I mean, my feeling is if I'm paying $1,600 a month, my wife should never be able to be mad at me. She should always appreciate me for paying $1,600 a month so we have health coverage. Isn't that ridiculous?
Unless she never gets sick.
$1,600.
If she never gets sick, though.
They go all the time.
Okay.
I never go.
Okay.
I'm afraid of doctors. But $1,600.
What
I
if
think
you
they might
just-
have thrown in dental for that. But you know what dental pays for? You have one cavity, and they're like, it'll be $3,000. But good thing is you have insurance, so it's only $2,800.
And had you offered the dentist a cash price, it would have been like,
like
$100.
grand cash.
Well, what about just taking that $1,600 and put it in the bank and let it build in case you need it?
Hey, it's that
I mean, it
whole
might add up pretty
catastrophic
quick.
thing.
That's
You're
a
worried
lot
about
of
that.
money, man.
I think it's crazy. And I own the business. I'm like, hey, health insurance guy, can't you throw it in for me? No, they can't do it. What other issues, Scott Sturgill, on the street when you're banging on doors, saying hi to people? What other issues are you hearing? What is on people's minds that they want changed in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, they want education system. They want more money for education from a federal level, which, again, I think, that's going to be one of our big issues to push. Make sure that our military is ready to defend us from, obviously you have conflicts, especially with North Korea. No one knows what, little Kim is going to do there. But again, fixing our VA system.
Little Kim. Isn't that a rapper too?
It is.
Yeah,
I do believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
We play all of her hits.
Oh, yeah, I bet on this station all the time.
Oh,
I just love the Little Rocket Man comment. I mean, you have to love Little Rocket Man, right? I mean, some of the stuff I'm like, hey, Mr. President, tone it down a little bit. Little Rocket Man was fantastic.
Sometimes the memes, though, are even better. And it's like, I'm not going to even come close to describing those, but you know what I'm saying. The missile.
I think Mick's going to have to show us those later.
I think so, yeah. We'll stick around
You know
after the
what I'm
show.
But it's just so much hate on social media, too. That's just crazy.
Again, everyone, they're more willing to say something on social media when they're behind with a keyboard than they actually would in public. So
Absolutely. No, you're hiding behind social media is what you do.
How do you deal with the negativity?
I take a deep breath, count to 10, before I respond. So
Right.
it's again, it goes with the territory. We know there's automatically those people who are gonna oppose us, hate us, whatever the case may be, or just say anything we say that they just dislike. So again, you just kind of push those people out, out of your mindset and don't even worry about them because again,
You can't change them.
there's nothing we're gonna do to change their mind.
So inevitably, 48% of people disagree with us, or something like that, right? 46% or whatever it is are going to.
I think that got Mitt Romney in trouble in 2012, didn't it?
Oh yeah. But so inevitably, we're going to have some people that disagree with us. I mean, do you ever worry about some negative stuff comes out? Not that you've done anything wrong. I just mean anything negative, anything to discredit you, because that's what's going to happen. I mean, are you worried about how your wife's going to handle it or the kids are going to handle it? How do you deal with that as a family person and a candidate?
Yeah, as a family person, look, my wife is very, she understands that they're going to throw a lot of dirt. And again, these day and age, it doesn't have to be true because we're public figures. they can throw whatever they want, and we're expected to take it. It's very hard to sue them for a slander case at that point.
Sure.
And maybe you might be able to employ you, Justin.
I'll defend you, brother.
We've got
appreciate
a
that.
lawyer.
Yeah.
But again, it's just so she understands that they can throw anything, they can throw attacks. A lot of times we're able to kind of squash those ahead of time and put out our positive pieces. But again, people who throw the negative attacks, that's usually because they're down and they're trailing us at that point, and so they're going to do whatever they can to try to get some points on the scoreboard. But again, when you're beating your opponents, and you're doing the right things and talking to the voters and making headway, you're going to be attacked, and so we expect it's going to happen.
Where'd you grow up?
Grew up here in Seminole County.
Get outta here.
Fourth generation.
One of the few.
Went to Seminole High School.
Went to Seminole High School and everything. So why wouldn't everyone in Seminole County want to put Scott Sturgill up in Congress in Washington, D.C.? A local boy made good, used to work as an intern for our very own Mick Dolan in the promotions department. Was he memorable, Mick, or what?
I don't think that's on Scott's resume.
No, he's going to add it after
don't
this.
think so, no.
You're definitely going to add it
All the
after
bad things
this.
I learned from Mick.
Yeah.
Where do we take it from here? What are we going to do next to help raise some money? How are we going to get out there and talk to people? We're going to go knock on doors. We're going to do events. What all are you going to do? What's in store for you between now and August?
So some of the best events that we have, we had one this week where people hold these, call them meet and greets in their house, where they hold an event, like usually it's like coffee and dessert. They invite their neighbors around because that lets us meet the whole neighborhood and lets us talk to them more about issues that are impacting them. And so those work great. So we've been fortunate. A lot of people are setting those up with us. Obviously, we do the fundraisers. I spend a lot of my time on the phone, talking with donors directly. And so that's where a majority of our money comes from fundraising. But again, they can find us on the website, scottsturgillforcongress.com, or on Facebook, Scott Sturgill for Congress.
Is it a learned trait, being able to sit in a room and make people feel comfortable around you and be able to really hear their issues? Or is this something that you just do naturally?
I think you get more and more used to it the more you do it. Again, sometimes you walk into a very hostile room, and then sometimes you got to love the Republican Women's Club because they all want to feed you cake, and of course the suits are going to get really tight at that point, so which is why we walk a little bit more. But so there's other groups that are more friendly, and then there's some groups that kind of push back a little bit. But again, we're there to listen, but we're also there to give them our philosophy and our where we're going with the campaign.
How many people will you expect at this John Boehner event? I mean, it's a pretty big event.
I think for security purposes, we have to limit it at about 150, 200 people. So just because with him being the former speaker, there are some security issues there.
It's very rare for the former speaker to fly down to Orlando, Florida, or Seminole County, Florida, and support a candidate who's going against an incumbent. I mean, how did you guys get this?
I've known the speaker for a number of years, for about 8 years. We've had a personal relationship, played golf a few times over the years.
Beautiful.
And I saw him in D.C., and I said, Speaker, I'm running. He goes, Scott, why on earth would you want to do that? I said, you made it look fun. He said, well, that was your mistake, wasn't it? So I said, I need your help. And he goes, well, let me look into it and we'll see. And so they looked into it. A few weeks later, he called back and said, all right, I'm in. I'm coming.
That is Scott Sturgill, your candidate for Florida's 7th Congressional District. One more time, how do we find out more information about you, Scott?
ScottSturgillForCongress.com or Scott Sturgill for Congress on Facebook.
My name is Justin Clark McDolan. I don't know a whole lot, but I know one little thing.
What's that?
I will see you right back here next Saturday on Bud 94.1.
You got it.
Mix involved. Yeah,
Yeah, they would have to.
yeah. You never know what he's up to.
I'm a good boy most of the time.
Really?
Well, yeah. Sure.
For the record, these are not my keys. I'm driving her car.
Oh,
so I don't want to
yeah,
hear anything
come
from
on.
anybody about that.
Sure. There's a lot of girls in your life. Come on.
There are, really. Good job, man. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So
well,
when did she actually do?
She, like any day. She just texted saying she's at the doctor or something.
What? You mean any
She's
minute? now?
being held at the doctor's office for high